they get in their scientific wild-ass guesses, their swag, their junk science wins over what the public has already voted here, which overwhelmingly the public voted do not touch our dams. But they're not listening to the people. And they being the federal government, the Department of Interior, FERC, the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission.
We need Ryan Zink to get down here and help us out.
Ryan Zink, he knows about this.
Oh, and he's okay with it?
He says that, in fact, he has his dude, Alan Mickelson, in the upper Klamath, which is in southern Oregon, but much further, several hours up the road. And they can't even determine whether or not coho salmon would survive. Anyway, there were historically no coho salmon on this river. They were planted, but they are saying that the coho are native, endangered, threatened, although you can buy coho salmon in Whole Foods for $8.99 a pound. It is not about the science. It is not, there's a deer right there. And it's not about the fish. It's about control of the river system. And probably something else. There's probably some, I think it's just water. But you take out these dams by
We need to start badgering the Secretary of the Interior, and we have to start every time that Brian Dolly or Ted Who has an event. Oh, and by the way, Ted Gaines wants to be on the Board of Equalization. Well, guess what? I guess he's not going to get the job. You need to talk to Connie Conway and tell her what your concerns are. She's running for that seat. Do you know who's running for state senate to replace that? I don't know. This is one of the steps that we can do to start fixing this problem.
Historically, this river has had floods. It has knocked out, and this highway is protected by the Wild Scenic Rivers Act.
Okay.
And so all this stuff will be gone in a flood year. But it's remained here because we have the steady flow of river 24/7, 365 days a year.
Yeah.
Without the worry of, and they even use this when there's fires. They dip into this river system. They use this river system to help suppress fires. But all this recreation, and it's quite interesting that the canoers and rafters are the ones who seem to be for dam removal. It's not dam removal, it's destruction.
Now, okay, so I want to make sure I summarize this. If the dam is destroyed, this river is gone.
This river will not be flowing 24/7. It will, its ebbs and flows of a river system that will eventually see. There's 4 dams that they want to destroy. All clean, green, renewable energy dams, almost in perfect condition. And behind these dams are storage lakes, huge storage lakes. We're only going to see one today. And this dam system also provides over 60,000 homes and businesses with reliable energy.
The hydroelectric plant.
Hydro. It also has a fish hatchery. And salmon usually like to return to where they were hatched. Well, what they do is to determine whether or not a fish is wild or it's a hatchery fish, is they go through and they cut the mandibular. So they manipulate the fish in order to separate the fish, but then they say that this is all about saving fish and putting us back to our natural their system. So they manipulate things, whether it's facts or species, in order to fulfill on their agenda. And then they say, oh, we got the public's input, just like the Delphi meeting. We have consensus that people want these dams out. They do not. They
Really
lie.
quickly, explain what happens. A Delphi meeting. Explain that really quick for everybody.
What's a Delphi?
Or
A Delphi
the technique.
is Delphi technique was founded by the Rand Corporation, a very militant, based on military, based on how do you coerce, how do you convince, how do you nudge people all into the same direction that you will have an outcome that you want the group to come to. It's already predetermined. And through what is called the Delphi technique, you convince the public, that group of people that you've assembled together in like a visioning meeting, let's say. They call it visioning, like, let's plan for Etna in the year 2040 and what does the community want? Well, somehow, are there all these groups keep coming to the same thing? We want walkable cities. We want to save open space. We don't want, we want walkable, bikeable streets. We want food banks. We want all these things.
So what happens in the meeting?
So the meeting, you're separated by your age. Sometimes you're put in these little groups, and each group has usually a paid facilitator or a trained facilitator, and you draw pictures, and as a group you come together to find out what the group wants for their future. For example, in the city of Etna, which is not far from here. Okay, so what does the community want? Well, the loudest always wins, and the loudest person, and then the facilitator says, okay, well, no authorized vehicles, but we will go through anyway, because we'll say. So in a Delphi technique, at the end of the day, what they want is to say that the community came together in consensus, and the community has now decided the future of the town for the rest of the people, although the rest of the people were not represented.
No.
If you have a question in a Delphi meeting, they'll say, oh, sorry, questions will come later.
Right.
Then they'll say, oops, we ran out of time. So nowhere, they want to hear from the community, but if you have a question, which is what happened last week in Etna, they shut you down. Then if you're super loud and you're proud and you're saying, wait a minute, this isn't what we want, then they mix up the room and they start a new what do you call it? Not training, but a new activity. They'll change activities, but the idea of a Delphi meeting is at the end of the day, they've got your email and they have the charts, the flip charts that you've drawn on, and you've done pretty little pictures. And so then they could say, yes, this is what the community decided. And then from there, grants come in by outside groups in order to make those dreams like a walkable city. I'm sorry, what city is not walkable? Oh, my dogs are crazy. So anyway.
And that's what happened last week. To try to shut to get a sense of a veneer of consensus to get rid of the dams.
Well, they've
or push
tried
walkable
that several
cities.
times, but not with the dams. The dams, they've tried all sorts of things to destroy these dams, and also this fish hatchery.